What's up? Hey, we're here. For those of you who are not on live, you missed my Christina Aguilera moves. They were awesome. They were awesome. But I am excited. Moxie Monday is here every single Monday at 9 p.m. Why aren't you here? I'm just kidding. We have an amazing group. Julia Payne, you showed us your hair. I'm sorry, I'm freaking out. She just Facebooked me and showed me her hair. Can everyone awkwardly look at her hair right now? It's purple. You look awesome. I digress. This is an amazing team to be a part of. I so appreciate you guys entertaining me and my dorkiness constantly. But this is a group of women who have goals, and we are busy, and we are lively, and we have 100,000 things that we could be doing on a Monday night. But you're choosing to be here, and I appreciate that because that means you're choosing to move forward in the goals that you have and the aspirations that you have. Whether it's financial gain, whether it's mental clarity, whether it's just you seriously want to see what obnoxiousness is going to happen when a bunch of women get together on a Monday night. So I'm just thrilled to say that this is the fourth Monday, which means we have a top coach on the call, and it's just going to be very casual, very fun, very open Q&A. I did send her a list of kind of questions. Since nobody had questions, and I was like, come on guys, step it up, but no judgment. I'm judging you, but no judgment. So the questions that I asked her, I also typed in the post from our group today, and I will post them in the chat box so you guys can read them and say, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's not a good one. And then maybe those questions will stir some thoughts in your mind of something to ask. You can either unmute yourself and ask, or you can type in the chat box and ask. But before I pass over the reins to Becca to answer her first question, popcorn question, I'm going to introduce her. Becca is an amazing friend of mine. She is a success partner of mine. I don't know what I would do without my success partners, so thank you. Mwah. She has gone so far in just loving on me as a human being that when I was having a really hard time last spring, she said, she called my husband up. That sounds weird. She messaged my husband up. Yeah. And was like, you take over the kids. This is a commandment. You take the kids. I'm taking Laura. So she sent me to Orlando to meet her at the Ritz-Carlton. We had a spa day. We just hung out by the pool and had drinks. Guys, that's an amazing friend to have. And I would not have had that friend if it wasn't for Beachbody. So the community here is really real. And maybe some of you can whisk other friends away to the Ritz-Carlton one day. That could be on your bucket list. Regardless of, beyond being a really great friend, Becca is a 13-star diamond. She's a 2-time elite coach. She was already in, I think, were you in the top 10 at one point this year already? Be the number one coach. I'm just kidding. I remember it was incredible. What number are you now?
I was 14 for a minute.
Well, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Obviously means you're doing something right with your leadership. So anyways, guys, that's Becca Robinson. She is incredibly talented. You should stalk her. You should follow her. She has an amazing blog. She used to be a photographer. She is a mom of a sweet little boy named Cadence. And this is public, so I'll share it. And she's adopting. So all good things, all exciting things. She's just a wonderful, overall wonderful person. So you guys just know that wonderful people are in this business. And I think that each one of you are wonderful people. So each of you could obviously grow your business like Becca has.
Goodness, what an introduction.
Sorry, I just get excited.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like I don't deserve all of that. Hi, Moxies. It's nice to hang out with you guys. So Laura sent me a couple questions, and if I know that this is just kind of a chill hangout call. I love seeing all the babies. I have such bad baby fever right now. So I can, if you guys want to, Laura, put those questions in the chat. If you like those, I'm happy to start there. If you guys have other stuff you want to talk about, I can tell you guys a little bit about me in case you don't already know. I have been a coach for 3.5 years, And before that, like Laura said, I was a professional photographer. So I worked as a professional. I was just talking to someone about this morning, where I feel like I tell people as a photographer, and people are like, yeah. Because like everybody's a photographer, you know? But like my husband and I actually, like, we did photography for 8 years. Like that was our career together. We didn't have any other jobs. So like I was actually a photographer for the last 8 years. I shot my last wedding last April. So it's actually been probably, I wonder what date that was, but it's probably been almost exactly a year since I technically retired from photography. And now I just do coaching full time. But I feel like that taught me a lot about how to run a business and taught me a lot about treating businesses like a business. And I brought a lot of that into coaching. Like I said, I've been a coach for 3.5 years, and I'm so all in. I bleed beach body blue. Coaching completely changed my life. When I first started, I had 70 pounds to lose. So I signed up as a coach when I bought my first challenge pack, and I definitely was not an after. I still don't really feel like I'm an after. I feel like I'm like an in progress. So my story is definitely one of building my business while I was also having my own experience as a challenger, because, you know, 70 pounds doesn't happen in one challenge group. So that took me the first 1.5-ish to 2 years to really get to that big goal. And then after that, it's mostly just been about getting healthier and stronger. I have an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's that makes it really hard to lose weight. So that's part of my journey now, is just trying to maintain and balance and not move backwards. But I'm happy to share about anything you want. I'm pretty much an open book. So please don't be afraid to ask something if you're wondering about it. You're not going to offend me by any means. But I can start, if you guys want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, like Caesar style, if you like those questions, if you want me to start with those that were in the chat. I can see everybody on video. Tell me if you like that or if you don't like that. Thumbs down. If you give me a thumbs down, you got to ask me something else. You got to replace it. So Chelsea, type in the chat.
I will.
Okay, so let me.
I'm gonna jump in here and ask.
I love it. Off mute. Yes, please.
I would love to know, in your 3.5 years experience, when you do get new coaches and they're all in and they're so gung-ho and so excited and they're showing up, they're doing the work, they're starting to, you know, put themselves out there and posting on social media, and then their conversations are starting to fall flat and they're just not getting that traction yet. What is something that you consistently talk to them about, tell them about, or advice that you would give them? Because I know a lot of new coaches struggle with that. And I know hearing it from somebody who's been there that's not just their upline coach really makes a big difference and a big impact.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that's something that is a common shared experience among new coaches. And it can be so frustrating because as coaches, this business is so duplicatable, and we know that, right? So you come into coaching and you know, like, everybody has the same tools, we all duplicate. And then some people have success really early on or really quickly, and other people it takes a while. And so it can be such a disconnect because you're like, I'm doing all the same things. I have all the same tools. Like, why is it working for other people and not me? And it can be such an emotional roller coaster and a mental game to, like, well, maybe I just suck at this, or maybe I'm just not supposed to. And all of those negative beliefs that we have about ourselves start to come out. So I think that is definitely something a lot of coaches experience, because if you happen to be one of the coaches that it just doesn't happen quickly, that can be really frustrating. So what I definitely have tons of coaches. I think that's probably the majority more than the minority that have that experience. I think it's the minority that just kind of tend to have success happen quickly. And it's just kind of luck of the draw based on who you're already connected to in your network by the time you start as a coach. But so what I tell them is my experience in coaching, like I said, I signed up as a coach like at the beginning of my weight loss transformation, actually. So my experience as a coach was very much like, I felt like a ton of pressure to prove that what I was doing was legit, like with my own body, like with my own self, to show other people like this is true. And I felt a lot of pressure not necessarily to do it quickly, like not in an unsafe way, but like I was all in with my challenge, my own challenge groups that I was participating in, because I felt very much like I need to be a product of the product, like without Beachbody even telling me I had that really strong conviction, because like how else do you prove to somebody that this is legit, you know? And so for me, it was definitely, I shared like all of my journey. So like I told people what I was doing right from the very beginning. I think I shared my first progress photo at like my 2 weeks into T25, because like I was, you guys know, like once you've been eating clean for about 2 weeks, like you're already feeling better, your bloat is going down, like you've got some stuff to talk about. And I was like really brazen about it from the beginning, because I wanted to prove to people that this was legit. So for those people, I would say like continue to share your own journey, because nothing is going to convince people who are skeptical more than your own experience. And know that sometimes it just takes longer for those people to come around. So you just kind of have to keep building outside of them. Like you can't put all your eggs in the basket of the people that you already know, right? So if those people are really skeptical and they're taking a long time, then you just need to go connect with more. You have to get more eyes. I was actually just talking about this morning. Craig Collier is my corporate rep, and we have like for all of the coaches that he mentors, we have like a little group, and we meet on Mondays and we do a Zoom just like this. And he asked me to talk to everybody about having a CEO mentality, because my experience is unique in that I was self-employed before I was self-employed as a coach, where most people aren't. And I was talking about the exact same thing, where like when you're launching any business, you just have to go out and get more eyes on what you're doing. Like if you're a coffee shop and you don't tell anybody that you're open, how are you going to sell coffee? Like you may have 1 or 2 people who walk by and find you, but like what else are you going to do? Nowadays you have to have like a Facebook account and a website and an Instagram, and you have to be like, you know, getting people to talk about it. And it's the same thing with this, like we're launching a business. So I would just say like continue focusing on your journey, because if you have an experience that's true and compelling, like people can't argue that, you know, they can't refute it. And a lot of coaches get into like, I have to build my business, and they're trying to manage this business. And sometimes their own journey can get on the back seat a little bit. And then it's so much harder to talk with passion about what you're doing. It kind of like perpetuates this negative cycle. And I've had those moments in my own journey where it's like the end of the month and I'm struggling to hit my goals, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, holy crap, like I have no journey this month. Like I have, you know, maybe gone backwards in my health because all I've been doing is trying to manage all this other stuff. So I would just tell them like continue to be working on themselves, like number one, and having their own experience, because nothing is as compelling as someone who has had a genuine experience and is super passionate about it. And then just get more eyeballs. So continue to reconnect with people that they know, mutual friends, growing their network, because eventually someone's going to be looking for what they have. And if they do have that true compelling experience, it's going to draw them in. Hopefully that answers that question. Okay, I got a lot of thumbs up for the ones that Laura asked. Let me look back. So I'm always nervous to share my daily workflow. Someone asked like, what does my day look like? Because do you guys know Danny Johnson's GEM test? Like the GEM personalities, Emerald, Pearl, Ruby, Sapphire. Do you guys know what that is? Okay, so they're like these different, some shook yes, some shook no. They're like, it's like a personality quiz, and it's basically like what motivates you. Are you like motivated by like organization, and do you love to like know everything before you get going? Are you motivated by like helping people, by being part of a cause? Are you motivated by fun? Are you motivated by reward? So I am super Ruby personality, which is like motivated by reward, recognition, all that kind of stuff. Like I'm super driven. I'm a classic first child, only child, like all of those things. So I hate talking about my workflow because it's definitely creative chaos. I'm not an organized person. Like, I don't have a power hour with like a list of exactly what I do. So people ask me and I'm always like, I'm a really bad example of this. I shouldn't be like telling people, but I'm happy to tell you, because maybe if you're like me, it's going to put your mind at ease to know that you don't have to be that type of person. Like, I got really inspired by one of my very emerald personality friends who's like super organized, and I like created this whole sheet. I even laminated it, which is like something I don't do in my life. I own nothing else that's laminated. And you can see it is perfectly clean. It is not used. So I don't do that. And even when I started this, but like now I'm a full-time coach. So obviously my day is going to look a lot different than someone who is, you know, still working other jobs or still, you know, has other responsibilities. Like my husband is home, he's retired, so he can help me with a lot of those things. So my day now doesn't look like most coaches who are still building their business. But when I was still working as a full-time photographer, I can tell you, when I first started coaching, I was working as a full-time photographer. So that was like 60 hours a week, because when you're self-employed, you guys know you got to hustle. And I was also blogging for Disney about 20 hours a week. And then I started coaching on top of it. So a lot of people will sometimes be like, oh, Becca, you were just already self-employed. Like, you had it so easy. And I was like, I was working like 3 jobs. Plus my kid was at home with me. So like, add that on top of it. For all of you moms that have kids at home, you know that just like is a whole nother full-time job. So when I did that, how I ran my business, like, I wish I could tell you I was one of those people that like woke up at 5 a.m. and like got all my stuff done and then like was super organized all day. That did not happen. I'm still not that person. I don't wake up at 5 a.m. at all, ever, like unless I'm sick or unless my kid's sick. And, I'm just not. I wish I was one of those people, but I'm not. So what I did was I basically ran my business in the nooks and crannies of my day. And I tell my team this all the time. Like, if you were a challenger of mine or a coach on my team, those first 2.5 years when I was still working photography full-time, most likely you got a toilet message from me, like at a wedding, on a bathroom break, answering your messages, like in a bathroom stall, like hiding out for like the 5 minutes that I could sneak away from working. Because when you're shooting a wedding, you don't get a lot of breaks because you got to be there. So I joke with my team all the time that like, you just make it work, you know? And it's true. All my challengers, if they ask me a question at that time, odds are they got a toilet message. And it's just, that's how you make it work. And I would, you know, be editing weddings at home, and I would take like, you know, a 15-minute break, and I'd go to Facebook and I'd try and send some messages, and I would answer stuff. And as soon as I woke up in the morning, I would just update all my groups. That was like my morning routine. I would wake up, I'd make coffee, I'd sit down, I'd update all my groups. I like to read personal development at night. So I read it before I go to bed. That's kind of like how I shut my brain off, because I have a really hard time falling asleep and like shutting it all down. So that's what I do. I like to do my workouts in the afternoon. I'm like totally opposite of every Beachbody coach, right? I am not a morning workout person. I'm like a 4 p.m. workout person. I hit my stride. But a lot of the time in the beginning, I would work out at like 11:30 at night, because that was the only time I had. So I would do it at night, take a shower, and then read till I fell asleep. Or I would stay up late. I'm more of a night owl. So instead of waking up at 5 in the morning, I would stay up late and work, and then, you know, start my day again the next day. So my business was definitely built sporadically, like messaging in the car while my husband was driving us somewhere, like to a shoot. And then, you know, like while he was dumping images, I was, you know, making a post for the day. Or whatever. And you just kind of like figure out those ways, you know. I call it like, it was very scrappy. It was definitely like a scrappy way of building my business. I've never been very organized. So what I like to do, and I can show you guys what it looks like. I just got Streak set up. Does anybody use Streak for their Gmail? I just got it set up to organize my email because I'm so bad at it. But what I do for most of my conversations is just this. So I'm a pen and paper girl. It's super simple. I have one piece of paper for each month. And I basically have 2 columns. One is coaching, one is challenge groups. And then I make a little list on the bottom that's people who have signed up for something. So I know like what I need to do with them next. And these are all the people who are talking to me about joining each thing. And I literally just like keep little notes. Like this one says coaching Sherry Drake Facebook message. So I know she sent me a Facebook message. This one says Janice Drew email. This one says Gracie Lou Facebook. This one says email. And it just says like basically where I was talking to them, and I'll make little notes like as we go along. Like this one says Country Heat on top of where it says email. This one says waiting October 21st. And then all these little FUs, which looks like it's a bad thing, just means followed up. So, and then it'll say like followed up ×2, followed up ×3. And it's literally how I've built my entire business is on these pages. And then kind of the cool thing about paper, if anybody else is a pen and paper girl, is I keep all of the ones from the past months. So like this is from like the last 6 months, like November, September. And then every now and then I'll do periodic like bursts where everybody who never actually did anything, I'll just go back through these lists and like reconnect with all of them. And that's how I've done it. So I just keep these little pieces of paper on my desk, and when I'm doing people, I just like make a little quick note. It really doesn't have to be, if this works for you, like it doesn't have to be super complicated. You know, you can just do what works for you. I make a little note to jog my memory so that when I'm talking to them next time, I remember what program, or if I was messaging them on Facebook or Instagram or email, or how they talked to me. And that's pretty much it. So that's how I schedule my day, which is, I know probably not everybody who here is like a type A emerald personality is like, nope, can't even deal. But for those of you guys who are maybe creative or, you know, maybe more right-brained, just know like you don't have to be, you know, super crazy organized Melanie Mitro person to be successful. You can make it work if your brain works on creative chaos like mine does. Oh, good. I'm glad that some people out there are like me. Yes, afternoon workouts are the best. I really don't even feel like I can move my body until like after 11 a.m. Like I have all these coaches who wake up at 5 and do workouts. I'm like, nope. Laura knows. Every time we're at trips, all of them are like, are we getting up and doing the workout? And I'm always like, call me in the morning and I'll decide. I'm always like the one that is like dragging to get down, and they're all like, her and like Morgan and like everybody's like super hyped up, and I'm just like standing there like grouching. Everyone's like, let's take pictures. I'm like, I hate all of you right now.
Becka.
Yeah, Laura was like texting me like, are you up? We're going in 10 minutes. Are you going? And I'm like looking at my phone like, ugh. And Beachbody events are not structured for us afternoon workout lovers. They are morningists. They definitely favor the morning people. We need like a 2 p.m. PIO. That would be my jam. I would be all about that. But yeah, they don't understand us. They just don't. Okay, let's see. What are some other questions? What are your most effective social media platforms? Instagram and my personal Facebook page are my most effective. I have a blog, and that does definitely help. But I think it helps because I also had a blog before, so I already had people that were kind of following along. But Instagram is where I make most of my new connections, like people who I don't already know, because Instagram is just wonderful for being able to connect with communities from hashtags and just stumbling upon people. And then Facebook is where a lot of my conversions happen, because I feel like Facebook's just a little more, people feel like a little bit more like you're a real person once they're connected to you on Facebook, and they kind of get to know you a little bit more. So my personal Facebook page, I have a business page, but I don't really use it. I just use it to like post events and run an ad every now and then for like the event. But I really don't use it all that much. Let me see. People are talking about chat. Is it possible to just do it through Instagram? Yeah. I mean, I don't know why not. You may need to like use something to be able to like I use Facebook groups for my team, like my team page and different things like that. You may need to find a place where you could do that. How do you reach out to new people on Instagram? I mean, same way you would reach out to a new person on Facebook. I just follow them and like and comment on their pictures. And if I feel like I can talk to them, I'll just send them a direct message. But mostly it's just about connecting. I call them touch points with my team when I'm talking to my team. Like, I don't have a very organized, like I know Laura has this incredibly organized like funnel system for talking to new people, and I wish I was that way and that I could work that organized, but I just don't. So for me, it's a lot more like guerrilla warfare style, where I'm just like liking people's stuff. And if I connect with them, I just follow them. And, I try and only do it with people who I genuinely am interested in. So then I can leave like feedback that is true. So like if there's a person out there who's like, doing yoga and super cool stuff, then I'll usually like follow them and I'll comment on their different things. Sometimes I'll ask them questions, but mostly it's just touch points. So I like imagine that I have all these like fingers out in like 100 different places, and I'm just touching all these people constantly because I want them to see my stuff too. And I want them to come and talk to me. So let me explain why I do it this way. It's a little different, I think, than like old school network marketing, but I am super introverted. I just did a post on this today because my husband was telling me that a couple of his friends, he was talking to them about me, and they were like, Becca's so like bubbly and outgoing. And he was just laughing. He was like, no, she's like super shy and not outgoing and like a homebody. And they were like, no way, like you're crazy. But I am. So I am like almost so introverted that it's like a handicap. Like that's how introverted I am. And I hate talking to strangers. Like I make my husband call for every reservation we have to make, for every like calling a store for information on anything. Like I hate talking to strangers on the phone. And so like the idea of like going up to a stranger at a grocery store and being like, hey, have you ever heard about Beachbody? Like I would rather gouge my eyes out with like rusty forks. Like that sounds horrible to me. I'd never do that. And so like the idea of like messaging someone I don't know on the internet, like before I've had any sort of connection with them, to like try and talk to them about my business, that is just not my personality at all. So my goal in this business has been to use my social media in such a way as to get them to give me what I call an open door. And so like I run my whole social media this way. Like everything I do is if I can just get them to look at me, like if I can just get them to become interested in what I'm talking about, I know that eventually they'll give me an open door to talk to them about it. And I always like to wait for it. So like, let's say someone, I find them on Instagram. I totally dig their feed. I dig their vibe. I start following them. I start commenting and liking their pictures. Eventually they're going to see my name enough that like, who is this Becca chick? Like I'm going to click over. And then I have spent so much time on my social media that I know it's compelling. I know that it's quality content. I know that it's something that covers all the bases. So like when someone comes to my social media, they don't have to do more than 1 or 2 scrolls to know that I am a coach, I'm in wellness, that I run accountability groups they can join, and that I also mentor coaches. Like I want them to know all of those things without having to dig very far at any given time. So I'm always talking about that stuff. And so then what happens is they look at my stuff and something compelling, and then we can start a conversation. Or on Facebook, if I'm reconnecting with someone like from high school, or one of my favorite things to do is go through my husband's old high school friends and like friend request all their wives. It's like my go-to for like new connections, because he's a social butterfly. So he makes friends all the time. And then I just go and like totally like use his connections and like friend request all of like the guys that he meets like at coffee things and like craft beer things. And I just go friend request all their wives. I'm like, hey, our husbands totally hit it off. Like, isn't that so crazy? And then eventually they'll be like, oh, like that's really cool that you're in wellness, or like I saw that you do yoga on the paddleboard. Like, what is this? And then we can talk about it. And then it's all like I wait for the open door. So for them to be like, what is this accountability group thing that you're doing, or what workout are you doing, or what is like, where do you get your healthy recipes, or what is that trip you went on? Like all of those are an open door. So now it's not weird for me to talk to them about it. Like now I can be like, oh, well, that yoga move I learned, I was able to do because I do PIO, and PIO helped me gain a lot of core strength. It's like this home workout program, which I love because I used to do yoga, but it's hard to get away now that I have a kid. Open door. Or like, hey, what's that like trip that you guys just went on? That looked awesome. Oh, thanks for asking. Like, it was awesome. It was this leadership retreat for, the company that I work with, and they brought us all out, and it was so cool. And I got to hang out with the people, that I work with and that I talk to online all the time. So that's what I do. So I want to constantly be touching as many people as possible, like, virtually, so that they're coming to look at me, so that what I'm doing intrigues them, like attraction marketing, basically. And we start talking and having conversations, because then for me, it's so natural, right? Like I'm so passionate about what I do that I never feel weird once someone gives me an open door. Like you can't shut me up about stuff I'm excited about. You know, I'll talk your ear off about Beachbody and whatever the program is they ask me about. And it never comes from a place of salesiness, because I genuinely love all of it. And I know how it changed my life. And I'm so happy to talk about it with anybody else. So as soon as they give me an open door, I'm golden. Like I am good to go. So that's kind of like how I view it with anybody on social media. And Instagram is probably where, like Facebook, I feel like it's kind of hard to stumble upon people unless you have some connection already, right? Like unless you have like friends, mutual friends, or unless one of your friends is like commenting and liking and going to their events, like you don't really stumble upon a lot of people. But on Instagram you do, because like you can look through hashtags, or like, you know, if there's someone you like, one of the things that I do is like for people that I really love, like what they're doing, a lot of the times I'll go and I'll look at who they follow, because I figure if I like them, I'm going to like the people that they like too. And then I'll find all kinds of cool new accounts there. Or like if you just go to the explore page, Instagram will tell you like people who it thinks you'll be interested in based on your activity on Instagram, and you can find all kinds of cool people there. Or like you can search by geotag location. So like I was at some of the natural springs here in Orlando the other day, and I geotagged a picture with Wekiva Springs, and I just clicked on it because I was like, I wonder if I can find any of the people I actually saw. And I found this one girl who is a dancer for the Orlando Magic. I totally like bumped into her when I was there and talked to her for a second about her dog. So I followed her and I sent her a message, and I was like, hey, so crazy. Like I totally saw you at the Springs the other day. And like now she's following me back. So like all of those just like silly, like little things, but they're all people that I'm generally interested in. Like it's not just arbitrary. Oh my gosh, Instagram is my favorite. I mean, it's probably because I was a photographer before, and like Instagram is very image heavy, but like Instagram is my favorite platform. I also resonate a lot better on Instagram than I do on Facebook. Like I don't know what it is about me, but I'll post the same thing on Facebook as I do on Instagram, and on Facebook I'll get like 3 interactions, and on Instagram it like blows up. So like for some reason Instagram gets me more than Facebook does. So Instagram is where I definitely like make new friends, and then Facebook is where I like cultivate the people that I'm connected to. So like if there's someone who I'm really hitting it off with Instagram, I'll like, if we've already been like liking and commenting on each other's stuff, I'll usually just send them messages like, hey, are you on Facebook? Like I want to connect with you. And they'll be like, yeah, here you go. And then like now I'm even more connected. So I always feel like once I have someone like friends with me on Facebook, it's just a matter of time. Like it's just like they're in, like it's just a matter of time before they tell me they want to join something. But yeah, I think Instagram is a great, great platform, especially with wellness and fitness, because there's so many giant communities for it there. Like you can find these huge pools of people, you know, that's like their whole account is dedicated to that, or, you know, that's what they're doing and they're chronicling their journey. So you can connect with all kinds of cool new people that way. Let's see, what are some of these other questions? Let's see. How do you keep up with your customers and leaders? Well, I have all of my coaches in a big team page. Our team name is the Arrow Tribe, so we call it our tribe page because it's like everybody. That's probably like your Moxie page, just like the whole downline. And then I have my PS coaches in private groups based on the years they signed up. So I do it in 2-year chunks. So like I have my 2013, because I signed up at the end of 2013. So 2013, 14, and 15 in one group, 2016 and 17 in another. And then for all my customers, I have a giant community group that when people are customers of mine, I send them an email, like an invitation to join it if they want to. Most of them don't, but they have the invitation. And then when someone has been talking to me, or when I know they've ordered, I'll add them in Facebook and I'll tell them like, hey, I added you to this community page. It's just a resource, just where we can stay connected. And then when people are finished with the challenge group with me and they don't decide to keep going, I put them in there. So that's just a place where I can connect with everybody. I also have a big mailing list with all of my customers that I keep. So when new customers get added, I just add them to my mailing list. And that way, if I need to like send out something to everybody, I can. But you can also do that through your Coach Online office. And then I post in my community group a couple of times a month. Like, it's nothing crazy. And people in there post infrequently, but it's mostly just a place where they know if they need like to ask something, they can. So like, I'll have challengers who like did, a couple rounds with me back in 2014 in there that'll like every now and then ask something. And when we launch new products, I go in and I share it there. And every month I'll go in and I'll tell them what my next challenge group is and invite people in there back into it if they want. So it goes through waves. Like, sometimes it's super active, sometimes it's not. I don't put a ton of like emotion into it. It's just a place for me to keep everybody that's easy. And let's see, my leaders, they're easy to keep track of because they're like, always popping up. So I have a diamonds page. And then that's, where I can talk to all of them. But most of them are easy to keep track of because, we're talking about their goals and we check in. So I try to check in with one of my diamonds every week. There's not a ton of rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of randomly pick somebody. And I just send them a message and like, hey, tell me what your goals are for this month. Like, what are you working on right now? Anything, you're struggling with, what can I help you with? And that way, I'm constantly talking. But I also try and favor the people that are putting in the most effort. So, if there's someone who's not really working and not really answering messages and stuff, I'm not going to spend a ton of my time trying to chase them down because I figure that's their way of telling me they don't really want to talk. So those are kind of the ways that I keep up with everybody. Let's see. What is your advice to start earning $500 a month? My advice to start earning $500 a month is to prioritize building your team and to start doing it like yesterday. So unless you are just like super gifted in sales and retailing, it's going to be hard for you to earn a consistent $500 a month every single month of your career. Just because you're one person and you can only talk to so many people. Just, there's only so many hours in a day and only so many conversations you can have. And what if you get sick one month? Or what if, something goes on with your family and you can't sell as many challenge packs that month? So for me, it was that I knew I wanted to build a team. And so I definitely had that as a goal from the very beginning. I think to get to $500 a month, you need a couple leaders working under you that are independent and, have a vision for their own businesses. So sometimes that just takes time, like sometimes you get lucky and you find that person early on, and sometimes it takes a while. It took me a while till I found some real business builders that wanted to do anything. So, I just had a team of mostly like discount and part-time coaches for a really long time until someone finally was like ready to go. What happens when the coaches you do have aren't interacting? What's your most common way of finding coaches? Challengers who become coaches, invite to coaching first. Okay, let me break that into two. What happens when the coaches you do have aren't interacting? I mean, the same thing that happens when a challenger isn't interacting, like I can't make them do anything. I can't drag them along. So, they're in my team page, they're in my PF pages, they're invited to all the same stuff my other coaches are invited to. If they stop showing up, like that's their decision. I'm not their boss or their parents. I can't make them do anything. Usually what I'll do is I will try and talk to them and just say like, hey, what's going on? What's your goal right now? What's your vision? And try and get to the bottom of why maybe they stopped interacting. Most of the time it's that someone lost their why, they lost track of it, or their life changed and their why changed. So a great example is recently I was talking to a coach who had a really strong why in the beginning and was going really hard and then moved. And I noticed they just kind of stopped showing up. And I was talking to them. I was like, hey, what are your new goals for the month? And they were like, well, I don't know, kind of lots of excuses. You know how you can kind of tell when someone's, not really at the same intensity as before. And so I said, hey, like, tell me remind me what your original why was. Like, here's what I thought it was. Tell me if that's right. And they were like, yeah, that was my why. And I said, well, was that still your main motivation for this business? And they were like, well, to be honest, after I moved, a lot of those, problems I was having before, they're not really there anymore. So to be honest, I don't really know what my new why is. And I was like, light bulb, like we've now figured out the problem, right? So I was like, well, like, are those things still true? Like, do you still want to create this life of freedom for your family? Like, do you still want to have that plan B, has that changed? They're like, yeah. So, we just had to kind of refigure out the why now that her life was different. And that's so normal. Like all of our lives are constantly moving and evolving and dynamic. So it makes sense that our why would need to be moving and evolving and dynamic. So a lot of the times when coaches stop interacting, like they've just lost sight of what that motivation is. And sometimes this is when, we kind of really have to put on our mentor cap and help people kind of sort it out and figure out like, well, even if that exact motivation is not fueling you, like are the core feelings that you want to get to the same? Like, do you want that security? Do you want that freedom? Do you want that future for your child that you said before? Like, even if right now your circumstances are better, like, are they going to get you there? And if not, like, let's figure out some new goals, right? And then, if they are just out and, they're just like, I need a break. I don't drag anybody. Like, I don't have time to drag anybody. So, I let everybody know I'm going to match your pace as a mentor. Like if you want to run 100 miles an hour, I'm going to run right there alongside you. I'm going to be kicking you in the butt every step of the way, telling you to run faster. If you want to jog for a little while, totally cool. I'll jog with you. If you're going to walk, I'll walk with you. But if you stop, I'm not stopping. Like if you decide you're just going to stop altogether, like I'm still going. So I'm not going to drag you. And sometimes, people go through phases or whatever, but I never want anybody to feel like they're kicked out because they're not performing at what I think they should. So my team is a community and people stay in there even if they drop down to part-time, even if they're just discount coaches, they're still invited, they're still involved. But I work with the willing. So I let people decide if they want to show up for stuff. And if they do, that's wonderful. And I'm excited to work with them. And if not, then that's cool too. Because I never want anybody to feel like they have to perform to my idea of what their goals should be. And then let's see, what's your most common way of finding coaches? Are they challengers who become coaches or coaches first? So actually the majority of my leaders, right? Because it doesn't matter if someone becomes a coach and never does anything. So the majority of my coaches who actually have been successful, they started with the business in mind. So they signed up as a coach right from the beginning after talking to me about the business side of things, and like we plugged them into a challenge group then at the beginning. So similar to me, right? Because like attracts like. So I signed up as a coach from the very beginning and had that idea in mind as I was going through my first challenge. I do have lots of coaches who started as challengers that are discount coaches, that are part-time coaches, and I have 2 that are diamond coaches, but all the rest and the ones that are my top leaders, like my star diamonds, my coaches who are pushing for elite, they all came in with the business in mind. So I have always been very, very business focused, probably because I came in with that mentality myself. So I've always talked a lot about the business opportunity and about what the business has done for our family and how much I love the community of it. So a lot of people feel really comfortable talking to me about the business first. I don't feel like I do one way or the other. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, you should only convert challengers to coaches or you should only lead with the business. I lead with whatever fits that person, like if it's someone who comes in and they're not sure if they want to be a coach, I'm like, okay, well, like, let's get you into a challenge. Like, let's get you doing that first. And if there's someone who is like, I definitely want to coach, I'm not going to like make them wait to upgrade their account later. I'm going to get them signed up right from the beginning. But I do find that a lot of my most successful coaches, we led with the business in their conversations and they came into it knowing they wanted to build a business. So if that's something that you feel like you're lacking in your business, I would challenge you to talk more about the business side of things and don't be afraid to, talk to people about that from the beginning. Don't feel like you have to put them through all these other steps. Because yes, that's great. And having an important experience in a challenge group is pivotal. Like all my new coaches get put in a challenge group. I don't let anybody start without going through that because you need to experience it yourself before you can lead anybody else in it. Like that just makes sense. But I would say if you're looking for those leaders and you feel like you're not finding them, don't be scared to talk about the business. Don't be scared to lead with it because there are people looking for it, and they want to know that you're confident in it. So if you tiptoe around it, it might turn them off. Let's see, was there anything I missed? Does anybody have any other questions? Hopefully I'm answering these okay. Just stop me if I'm not and be like, no, Becca, try again.
I don't see any missed questions.
Okay, good.
Let's see here. You answered the 5 that I shared. You answered about community, challenge the coaches. I do want to emphasize what you said in the last part, that if you guys are in a place in your business where you're like, ugh, I just have a hard time adding coaches. Ugh. I can read that in your post. You know what I mean? Like the UGH. Oh. Then I think we should take Becca's advice. She's like, talk about it more. Talk about it more. If you want more coaches, talk about it. Do you want to be a coach? Nobody's going to want to be a coach. Your team, you're constantly having that vibe. So talk about your business. Talk about the benefits. Talk about your love for it. Talk about your invitation to your team and what's happening, and what's happening maybe with your coaches. And if not your coaches, then on the team and network wide and overall success, because there's so much room at the top. It's not like specifically reserved for people who, you know, whatever. It's anybody's ball game. It's fair game for anybody. So if you want more coaches, which is going to help you build that sustainable, stable income, because retail is awesome, but it's like you can retail at this amount every single week or every month. But if you want more than, let's say, 500 a month, 750, 1,000 a month, if you want more than that, you're going to have to build your team and then help your team see success, and that duplication will come. And then that's where the volume is going to kick in. And you guys, that's where life happens. Like that's where your freedom number comes in. So if you want more coaches, talk about business more. Don't be afraid of it. Introduce it differently. Talk about it boldly.
I know that people get like so scared. So I know this is recorded, but be brave anyway. Raise your hand if that's something that you feel scared or nervous about, is like talking about the business confidently from the beginning. Like, do you use challenge groups as a little bit of like a crutch? Like that's like your entry point, right? So like people get so scared about this, right? And I was just talking about this morning with the leaders, the mastermind group, about treating it like a business. So I think that I definitely had a unique perspective on it because I launched a photography business, right? So like I've launched a business before. I went from like not doing something to doing it and needing people to know about it. It's like the same idea, even though it was photography and this is coaching. And I went through having to like self-promote, right? And like having to tell people that I'm a photographer now. You should tell your friends about me. You should hire me to shoot cute pictures of your babies. You know, all of those things, right? I had to do that. So when I started coaching, I basically just did the same thing all over again. Like it was the same exact ideas, just with talking about something different. Instead of it being like, you should let me come take pictures of your babies, it was like, you should let me help you and all your friends who need to get in better shape, get in better shape. But so many people get scared about it, and so many people get scared to lead with the business opportunity, which I totally get. Like, if you don't feel confident in what you're doing, you're like, well, how can I help someone else be confident? But has everybody here run a challenge group? Everybody? Okay. Has everybody had at least one person go through their challenge that had success of some sort and like hit some sort of goal? Okay, you know that feeling like as a coach when you get like that message from somebody that's like, oh my gosh, like my pants are looser, or I lost 3 pounds, or, you know, like that feeling where you're like, yes, like I'm doing something right. Like it's fulfilling, right? Like you feel like personally fulfilled by knowing that you helped someone. Can I just tell you that the feeling when you get that same type of message, but it's from a coach on your team who hit some sort of business milestone, it is like to the 10th degree. Like that feeling you got from helping a challenger when a mom tells you, like, we just, you know, like paid for my kids' braces, or we were able to go on this Disney vacation that we never thought we'd be able to go on. My marriage is stronger than ever. Like when you get that, it is like fulfilling times like 10 of what it was ever with a challenger, because now you're not only helping someone like with their health, you're helping like someone's entire livelihood. You're now reaching their family, their children, their circle, their future. Like it is so fulfilling. So if, you know, you're scared about it because you're like, I just don't know, take that feeling that you love about helping challengers and just know like that is what it's like to help your team succeed. And then not only that, like you get paid to do that. So it's like not only do you have this incredible feeling, now you're also like making more money. It's kind of like wins all around. Like there's definitely not a downside here, you know? You're just feeling more awesome and more personally fulfilled, and you're also growing your income all at the same time. Okay, people are now typing. Let's see. My hardest part talking about the business when I own another business. I feel as though we're talking about the business side. People are assuming the other company's feeling. That is a great point. Where's Amanda? Where are you? Raise your hand. Hi, Amanda. So mine, I had the same exact feeling. I don't know what your other business is, but obviously mine was photography. And I was so scared to talk about coaching at the same time because I was like, I don't want my photography clients to feel like bait and switched, or to feel like now there's pressure for them to, you know, support this other business of mine because they don't want to damage our other working relationship. Or I don't want them to be afraid I'm going to like peace out on them and like not be shooting weddings anymore. You know, like those are really big worries of mine, because in the beginning, my coaching career was not making enough money for me to jeopardize my photography career. Like that was a very serious line in the sand. Like my photography career paid our rent. So like I could not put that in jeopardy. So that was something I struggled with. And so I kept my stuff separate for a while. Like I kept all of my fitness journey not on my Facebook personal page, and I had it on, you know, I had like a Facebook page that was just chronicling my journey, or I would put it on Instagram or my blog. And then what I would do is when I hit like a milestone, or when I had like something important, what I would do is I would post on my personal page, and then I would say like, hey, if you're into this kind of thing and you want to follow my personal fitness journey, like here's where you can find the rest of the stuff, where I post like in and out all day. And I would direct people over there, because then I was like, well, if my brides click over, they're interested. So I shouldn't feel bad, right? Like, cause they've decided like to opt in, you know? And so if that's you, then I would say find a platform that's where you can share it. And then, you know, like it's part of who you are. So when I lost, you know, when I had my progress, like when I finished my first 30-day challenge, I blasted those before and afters on my personal page because I was proud. And I was like, if my clients can't be happy for me in this, then they're jerks. Like that's their own problem. Like you should be happy for someone when they do something good. And it wasn't like, you know, everyone needs to join my challenge. It was like, here was my success. I'm going to do another round of this. Like if you want to follow more of this journey, like here's what I'm talking about. Here's where you can read up on, you know, all of that. I'm chronicling the whole thing for my own accountability and to hopefully inspire other people to know like they can do it too. And so it was very like non-pressury and just an overflow of my own excitement and happiness. So lots of people did click over. Actually, let's see. I have Marissa, Jess, Lisa, 1, 2, 3, 4 of my diamonds are past brides. And one of my star diamonds was sent to me from a past bride who didn't want to work the business but fully supported everything I was doing. So that ended up being, and I think probably 80% of the people I worked with as a photographer have joined a challenge group of mine at this point. Because they were like, oh, this is so cool that you're doing this. I gained a bunch of weight after my wedding. I need help. So I think it worked out really good in the long run. And I think as long as it is an overflowing of your own passion, that people won't feel pressured. So, but if you are nervous, like that's a legitimate concern, right? Like you have to protect your livelihood. So find a safe place where you can go crazy. Like if it's a separate Instagram account, if it's a blog, if it's a separate Facebook page, and then just pop in with like updates here and there and say like, if anyone's interested, like you can find the rest of my stuff here. Like I'm, you know, talking all about it over here. And that way your clients or the people that are currently connected to you can choose if they want to see more about it and if they want to follow it, you know? You don't have to do it like on your business page for your other business, but like, you know, on whatever is just your normal where you connect with all your real life friends.
But did you find that you were able to actually like post about the business side of it before you were able to switch it over to being more so your livelihood?
Yeah.
Like to actually invite about that?
I did. I absolutely did. And I talked about it, especially, I was careful with what I said. Like, I wasn't like, I hate weddings. I need to get out of this. Because I didn't want to, you know, make any of them, like, have hurt feelings. Because, you know, when you're a bride, like, your wedding day needs to be everybody's favorite event that's ever happened, you know? And as like someone in the wedding industry, you have to make every bride feel as if their wedding is like the most exciting thing you've ever been a part of. Because that's just how weddings are, and everybody deserves to feel very special on that day. So I was never like, I hate weddings, I need to get out of this, this is my exit strategy. But I did say, like, I'm loving this thing that I'm doing. Like, this has brought me so much fun. It's this other creative outlet. It's this other business outlet that I'm just loving getting to, like, switch gears. And it's supporting my other business because now I'm so much healthier. I have more energy, like, for, you know, being able to pull those long 12-hour days. And I talked a lot about, like, those kind of things and how mostly it was supporting me being able to live my life in those other ways. And then I was never like, I have to hit this income goal so I can retire from photography. In fact, I didn't really talk at all about retiring from photography. Even though I phased myself out for a good year and a half, I didn't say anything about leaving photography until we'd shot our absolute last wedding and returned all the photos. Like, it was fully done. They had all of their stuff and were done working with us. And then Nate and I made, like, the official announcement that we weren't taking anymore. But I was really careful about that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you don't have to be like, coaching is the only thing I'm going to do, and this is what I'm doing to build still a successful team. Like, I talked about how it was so great, you know, to be connected to this new group of people and how much I was loving it and how it was bringing in extra income for our family and how it was allowing us to be more selective with the weddings we took because now it was supplementing our income. And I definitely made posts like that, but I was never like, I need to get out of here because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Even I enjoyed being a wedding photographer. It was more logistics than not liking that job anymore. Like, once we had, my husband and I shot very non-traditional weddings. And so we would do a lot of destinations and elopements and things that were like 3 days long. And, you know, when you have a kid and you don't have family nearby to watch them, that becomes like a logistical babysitting nightmare. So all of those weddings that were like so cool and like Bonnie and Clyde before, when we were like, yeah, let's go to, you know, Iceland for a week. And who cares if we don't get paid very much? We'll be fine. And, you know, like, you can eat ramen and get paid in experience. When it's just like you and your husband, when you have a kid, you're like, nope. So we had to, you know, have something that supported us in more of like a consistent way. So that was more why I wanted to build up the business. Also, when you shoot weddings, like, you're working every weekend. And once our son started getting bigger and having friends' birthdays to go to and wanting to do sports and stuff, I was like, I can't do this forever. Like, I can't miss all the weekends of his life. I need something else. So we had to kind of like come up with a plan B. But yeah, so I think as long as you can find like a safe place where you can do it, and, you know, you can talk about, I don't think there's anything wrong with, your business, it's not mutually exclusive. Like, your business doesn't have to be failing for you to be excited about doing Beachbody, you know, and your business doesn't mean your business is bad if you say, like, you have earned a free trip with coaching or you hit a financial milestone. Like, it's just adding to your life, and you can position it like that. Like, this is just adding to our life. It's helping us, you know, to even reach more goals than we could have before. And not only that, like, it's letting me pay attention to my health, which is so important. You know, like, I could have gone out and gotten a million side hustles, but like, this one actually fulfills my health and my need for community and to be around positive people. It makes me a better business person in general, all those kind of things. So you can definitely share from that perspective. Someone else said, thanks. I hope that helps. I know that feeling, it can be a hard balance. Let's see. And then, like, every time brides would ask me about it, they'd be like, so coaching is going like really good, right? I'd have to be like, yeah, it's okay. But, you know, like, it's like, be careful what I said. Let's see. I know I saw something. How do you word your invite to coaching without them even knowing anything about Beachbody and the challenge groups? That's a good question. So normally people do know a fair amount about Beachbody and the challenge groups because of my social media. So normally, like, they've been reading all my posts and following my stuff, and they have an idea of what I'm doing. And usually by the time I'm talking to them, they already know they want to do it. It's just talking about the logistics of it. So it's not like, here's a pitch about what challenge groups are and what coaches are. Like, they know I run accountability groups. They know we have a team. They know I mentor people. They know, that it's based on Beachbody products that you do from home, that I do my workouts streaming. Like, they know all those things. So usually by the time they talk to me, they're like, how do I start with a challenge pack? Which one do I start with? Like, how long before I can start bringing people in? Like, it's more just logistics than like trying to explain the whole thing. It's rare that I have someone that's like, hey, I want to do this. I have no idea what this is. Like, that doesn't happen very often. And usually I'm like, have you not seen any of my posts? Like, how did you even find me? And in that case, usually I'll just go to the beginning and say, like, I don't know if you've seen my stuff on social media, but, I run these monthly accountability groups doing these home workouts. That's the same program that I used to, have my transformation, and I'm partnered with Beachbody. So we use their tools and I coach you through it since I've done all of it. And then, I run those accountability groups every month, and that's how I make money as a coach. And if you want to coach, then I also mentor you and I teach you how to do the same thing. And I teach you to teach people how to do the same thing. And I make it really simple. So I don't know if any of you guys heard about the website Reddit? It's like a mostly, like, this is going to sound so sexist, so sorry if you're a girl who loves Reddit, but it's like mostly a guy thing. Like, most guys are on Reddit, most girls aren't. But there's a whole subreddit, which is like a forum that's called like Explain It Like I'm 5, which is like when people ask really technical questions and like need really simple answers. So they're like, tell me how quantum mechanics works, explain it like I'm 5. And someone has to like dumb it way down. So that's what I think of when I'm trying to explain it to people. I like try and explain it, not in a rude way, but like explain it like I'm 5. Like, they don't need to know all the ins and outs of the Beachbody PMP. Like, they just need a general idea, like we can talk through the rest of the stuff later. So yeah, see, everybody's like, I know it because my husband's on it. So like, that's what I do when someone has no idea. I try and explain it like in the easiest way that I possibly can, which is like, I do these fitness accountability groups. I'm partnered with Beachbody. I help people get results. And then when they want to become coaches, I teach them how to do the same thing. And I teach them how to teach people to do their friends to do the same thing, and so on and so forth. And that's like, my very simplistic overview. And then I'm like, I usually let them lead it. So I'm like, what are you curious about? Like, what parts are you most curious about? I don't need to talk their ear off for an hour about something they don't care about. So then they'll be like, okay, well, I don't understand like how do coaches make money? And then I'm like, okay, so I know that they're interested in like the financial side. And I can talk to them a little bit about how we get paid in commission. And then once you have a team, you get paid in volume on top of that. But honestly, you guys, I hope this doesn't sound the wrong way. I hope you guys understand like my heart in it. But like, I'm not trying to say like I leave out information, but most people don't care about all of the little parts. And I'm confident enough to know that they'll learn it because Beachbody's training is so good. Like, Coach Basics covers all of it. All of the tools are there for them to learn the ins and outs. They don't need to understand every in and out of the compensation plan before they sign up. And I'm confident enough as a coach to say, you'll learn that in your training. Like, you will learn all of this stuff. Like, I can tell you, you'll make money in commission. You can make money in volume. I know that doesn't mean anything now. Like, you'll learn it later in your training. And that's what I'm here for. Like, I help you make sure that you get plugged into the trainings, that you have the tools, that you have the resources, that you understand all of this, but you don't have to know it now. Like, you can figure it out as we go. And so I think a lot of times coaches get so nervous to talk about the business with people because they think like, they need to understand all of the business, and this business is so big, right? Like, and if you're a new coach or you're a coach who you don't feel like you've hit whatever your milestones of success are, you may not feel very confident in trying to help someone else hit those, but you already know more than they do. Like, if you're here on this team call, you already know so much more than someone else, and you can help them get to that next step. And then as they're getting to that next step, you're getting to your next step. So you can teach them what that next step is. And then, as they go, you can go. And you're always going to be able to do it because you've experienced it already. And that's the cool thing about Beachbody is you don't have to be a business mastermind. You don't have to be a nutritionist. You don't have to be a fitness trainer. You just have to have experienced it yourself so that you can say, like, here's what I did when I went through that. Here's how I got to Emerald. Here's how, you know, my weight loss journey went. Because that's what people care about. Like, all the ins and outs is out there. They can YouTube video it. They can go on the online office. All of that's there. They just want to know how you did it, you know? And that's all you have to be able to share to be able to help someone get to that next step. It's also great accountability for you to always lead from the front. You know, you always want to be one step ahead of all of those people so you can help them. So don't be afraid of, you know, talking to people about that stuff, and don't feel like you have to explain every single thing. Just be like, yeah, here's what we do as coaches. You're going to learn all the ins and outs of that in our training. We have a kick-ass training. It is like one of the best in the industry, and I'm going to help you start strong by putting you in that. Like, I'm going to give you all of that. It's already ready to go for you as soon as you're ready to start on it. And just let them know, like, that's all there. But it's more confidence. So I used this example with someone the other day. Hopefully it'll help you guys. So I think it's more about confidence than knowledge, really, because all of the knowledge is out there, right? Like, everything's figure outable. So people just want to trust that you're going to help them more than anything else. They don't need you to know all the answers. They just need to know that you're going to be there. So I used this example the other day. Like, okay, if you're a bride, have any of you guys had a wedding? Has anybody planned a wedding? Or had to hire vendors? Okay, so you know what it feels like. So you're a bride, right? And there's photographer A and photographer B. Their work, about the same, right? They're fine. Both of them, they're going to do a good job with your pictures, right? But you message one of them, and one of them's like, I don't know. I mean, like, I kind of know how to use the camera, but I just tend to, like, get really good pictures. And, I mean, I think I'll do an okay job. Like, I mean, I'm still kind of new, so I don't know. And like, it does cost some money, but, like, I mean, maybe we could do, like, a couple pictures, you know, for free. And I'm just not sure. And then you go to the photographer B, and they're like, yeah, so I'm gonna just kill your wedding. We're gonna get it featured. It's gonna be, like, pinned all over Pinterest. You're gonna love your pictures. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. I live, breathe, sleep, dream weddings. This is, you know, my favorite thing. I love that this is my job. I can't believe that I get paid to do this. And, you know, like, even if I haven't shot at that venue, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to figure it out when I get there. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to love it. I'm going to roll with the punches. Like, which photographer are you going to hire? Right? Like, they're the same price. Their pictures are on par. Like, they put out the same content. Like, you're going to hire photographer B, right? Just based solely on their confidence alone. Like, it doesn't matter if their work looks the same. It doesn't matter if, you know, they're the same price. You're going to get the same, like, package from them. You're going to pick B because you're going to be like, yeah, okay, I'd rather have this person, because at least I feel like, you know, they're excited and they seem to, like, feel confident in their abilities, you know? And it's the same with coaches. I have so many coaches that are like, I don't understand why everybody, like, why does Bonnie Ingalls sign so many people when she doesn't even need that many people? And, you know, I have this person that went to so-and-so instead of me, and that's not fair. Well, probably because so-and-so is being way more confident, you know, like, it's such a big difference. And you want to align yourself with people who you feel like are confident and are going to be there to support what you're wanting to do, you know? And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter who knew more, which photographer was slightly better. Like, the brides are going to pick the confident one every single time. Just like people that are coming to you that want to launch a business. Like, if you're wishy-washy and you're like, I don't know, I'm kind of new, I'm still just learning, but my upline coach is really good, and there are all these trainings, I'm not really sure because I haven't done all of them, and I think I can maybe help. Like, and then if they message another coach that is like, yeah, we're going to rock it. I may be new, but I'm going to the top. I want to take you with me. We're going to be a top 10 team. Like, they're definitely going to sign up with that other person. So I think it's scary in the beginning, and literally, you guys, the only way to get better is just to do it and suck at it a couple times. Like, you just have to start being confident, and you have to start talking about it, and, you know, you may flop once or twice, and you'll get better, and you'll learn your voice, and you'll learn, you know, how to share the things that you're passionate about in a way that feels authentic to you. And you just have to give yourself time to, you know, be new and learn the ropes and kind of fumble through it and be okay with that. I can't tell you how many, messages I totally was horrible at in the beginning. I called people the wrong name. I said completely wrong information. Like, I sent them wrong links. I did all kinds of stuff wrong in the beginning. Like, absolutely. Everybody sucks at their job when they're new at it. Like, everybody in every industry, like, there's a learning curve. So, it's more about confidence than it is about ability or what you've accomplished or knowledge. 100%. Like, have you guys seen that post that Lindsay Matway did where she shared like her very first coaching post she ever did? Has anybody seen that? No? Okay, so Lindsay Matway. Does everybody know who Lindsay Matway is? When she first started as a coach, I think everybody can say Lindsay Matway is not lacking in confidence. And when she first started as a coach, one of her very first posts, it was in a Facebook note. Who remembers Facebook notes? Who has been around long enough to remember Facebook notes? You wrote a note. It was like a little Facebook blog post that like was over on the like left side of your page. She wrote a Facebook note that was like, everybody has seen, you know, that I was doing P90X after my baby and I loved it. So I decided to be a coach with the company and I'm going to be a top coach. I'm going to be a millionaire. I want to take this thing to the top. I want to take you with me. Who's with me? Like, literally her first coach post ever. Do you know who she recruited off that post? Katie Hefner, one of her top earners and one of the most successful coaches in the company. Like, absolutely, confidence beats all of that other stuff. Like, she didn't know what she's doing. Coaching was still like being figured out. There were no challenge groups back then. You know, like, she hadn't gone through 30 days of coach basics yet. Like, absolutely not. Sometimes you just have to lead with your passion and your excitement, you know, and it's not a bad thing. Like, so many people feel like, well, like, I don't want to mislead anybody. That's a negative. And it's not. Like, if you have a strong why and you have a vision for this, like, why would you ever be afraid to say that? Because it forces you to do it, right? Like, if you say you're going to be a top team and you recruit someone saying that, now you got to really do it. Now you have to like hold up your end of the bargain and be that mentor, you know, and you have to like be leading the team. So yeah, it's scary, but it's awesome. And it's totally worth it. I did a post a while back on my blog that was like my income. Let me see if I can find it. It was like my income over time, showing like my commissions versus my team bonus cycles. I'll put the link. What did I call it?
I know, and you just shared that on the income surge too. That if you guys watched her video on the income surge, how her retail was like kind of the same. Then you saw her volume like step it up in 2015. It was like boom.
Yeah. So it really, I mean, absolutely, retail is amazing, and you can definitely earn good money being a good retailer. But if you want to build something with, you know, some security and some consistency, and you want to have an income that you don't have to be the only person forever hustling for, which, I mean, that's like the dream, right? Like, we want to have that solid income. We want to build something that's residual, you know, that's not dependent on us. For me, photography was dependent on me. I didn't get paid unless I showed up and took pictures. Like, that's so limiting. I'm one person. I can only be in one place at a time. Like, I can only shoot so many things at a time. Like, I was limited. And that's like how retail is. You know, you're limited. You're only one person. You can only have so many conversations going at a time. You can only reach so many people. But if you can leverage yourself across the success of an entire team, then you become limitless, right? The only limit on that is what you put on it, because that can grow exponentially. And yeah, it takes time. I mean, you can see from my graph, it didn't happen overnight. Like, that was pretty much like an entire year of growth and of growing a team and working on it and helping them to learn and grow, but it's so worth it. I mean, now I just showed one of my new coaches, she was over visiting, and I logged into the back office and I showed her one of my checks from October, the first month I was a coach. And I think I sold like 200, I don't know what I sold, but I had like $200 and something in commission, like retail commission. And I had like $42 in team bonus cycles, because I was like I think I was like an emerald coach. I was like a brand new coach. So everybody looks at that and is like, well, that's not very much money from a team, right? Like, that's a lot of work building a team to make $42. Like, your retail is way better. Why wouldn't you focus on retail? But then I logged into last week's check and I showed her my retail was like $200 and something again, but my team bonus cycles were that was my salary. Like that's become my family's annual salary. And I showed her and I was like, I'm still retailing the same because I'm still one person, like I'm still me. I still only have the same amount of hours in the day, but look at what happens when you spend 3 years investing in other people and helping them to find success too. Like it really can grow to amazing things. And she was like, this is insane. Like it's so crazy that your commission is like the same amount. And it totally makes sense now. Like that, of course, like you wouldn't be able to grow your commission by leaps and bounds. Like you're still only one person. You still, have the same amount of hours in the day as you did back then. Like this is so cool. And it's so true. Like it's the best thing if you want that long-term growth to grow your team. And it's the most fulfilling thing ever to be able to pour into a team and then have them have those breakthrough moments and those exciting milestones. Like it's worth every no, it's worth every coach who quits. It's worth every time you are so emotionally connected to someone and they fizzle out. Like when you have that person who hits that breakthrough in their life and like they can do something for their kids that they couldn't do before, or, their marriage is stronger, or they're able to, do something that was only a dream, like a daydream before, like that's amazing. That's a really, really cool feeling. And it takes all of those, awkward moments of like, how do I talk to this person? And it just like blows them out of the water.
I love that, Becca. Seriously, like the perspective you've shared, the confidence that you've even instilled in this amount of time in us. I mean, I love seeing on the thread, they're like, that's such a good example. That's such a great example. I'm so inspired. Like even your concept of the comparison of you have the exact same product, exact same skill, but one person comes at it more confidently. I mean, the way that you shared that, I was like, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Who are you going to go for? Like I would absolutely 100% without a doubt go be inspired and mentored by the person with the confidence. See, sometimes you just have to fake it till you make it because you don't have to know all the answers. And you don't have to be at your like ginormous dream goal right now, but you can have confidence in your vision. You can have confidence in where you're going. And guys, you can have confidence in Beachbody. You can have confidence in this team, in this community, in Moxie. You guys know we have monthly like rolling ongoing trainings. We have a community here and we have frequent events, and you have this First 30 program where you can literally get that PDF, print that PDF, pull up that PDF on your computer and say, I don't know what I'm doing as a coach, mentor, I don't know how to be a sponsor. But literally, if you open up that PDF, check, you sent them this email, check, you sent them this PDF, check, you schedule your next one-on-one call, check, you listen to the national wake-up call, and then you ask them if they listen to the national wake-up call. It's kind of like, monkey see, monkey do. They're going to do exactly what you do. So that's how you lead a coach. That's how you lead a coach. So don't be afraid of it. Don't let that hold you back. Becca, thank you so much for tonight. Guys, chat in the chat box if this was like showering goodness over you. If you guys learned a lot, or you had a big takeaway, maybe a good aha moment, inspiration to actually take action. Thank you. Wow, thank you. 10,000%. That's a lot of percent.
You guys are so
Awesome.
sweet.
So,
and let me tell you one little last thing. I've kept you guys so long. You guys are like, never come back, Becca.
I know.
One little thing, because I know, I see coaches, like when people are like, you just have to fake confidence until you make it. Like I watch people's faces and they're like, I don't want to fake confidence. I don't think I can fake confidence. Like I get that because I was that person who like, I'm very shy. I can lead team calls and I can turn it on. But like, if you guys ever find me at Summit, I'm usually like in the corner standing with like the 3 people I know talking. Like I'm very shy in real life. And so like for me, like fake it till you make it was like not like that didn't make sense to my brain. Like I was like, that doesn't compute. So another way to think about it, maybe this will help you, is how I thought about it, is it's not fake it till you make it. It's lead with your passion, right? Like you may not have the experience yet. You may not have the laundry list of accomplishments to check off to show someone that you're good at what you do. But if you have passion for what you're doing and you genuinely care and you genuinely love it, then lead with that. Like it doesn't matter if you don't have all the experiences yet. If you have the passion, you have this vision, then lead with that. That's what's confidence. Like passion and confidence are really, really similar. They look a lot the same from the outside. So if you feel like, well, I can't fake it till I make it, think about what makes you so excited for your why and for your vision, and just keep that right in the front of your head when you're talking about what you're doing, and use that passion. Basically use the passion until you feel like you have confidence, and then combine them.
Yeah.
Lead with the passion and lead with your heart. And it's so attractive to people, because, you know, the world doesn't need more people just selling something. The world doesn't need more people who are just going through the motions. The world needs people who are like lit up, excited about stuff. Like that's what stands out, you know? And so whatever it is that makes you so excited and passionate, it's unique to you, and it'll help you stand out from the rest if you're willing and vulnerable enough to show that side of yourself. And that will come across as confidence to people. Like even if you don't feel like you have confidence yet, just think passion instead of confidence, because I know all of you guys have passion, or you wouldn't be here at 10:30 at night on a Monday. And you guys have literally one of the most incredible leaders that anytime you do get stuck, you can absolutely go to and lean on. And I mean, just such an incredible resource. Laura was like, I was so starstruck the first time I met Laura, you guys. And it's so funny to me that her picture, you know how Zoom like saves a picture, and like when you're in chat it says a picture, it's like her short pixie haircut, because that's how I remember Laura always. Like when the first time I met her, she had that short pixie haircut, and it was at Lindsay Matway's Shine thing at Summit. And she was like walking around, and I recognized her instantly, and I knew that she lived in Florida, and I was so nervous to go talk to you, Laura. And I was like, hi, I'm Becka, I know you on Facebook, I think we live near each other. And you were like, who is this girl?
No, I knew who you were.
You're creepy for knowing where I live.
No, I knew you.
And I was so starstruck. Laura has been one of the most inspiring coaches to me since I signed up, because I think you got started a little bit before me. So like you were one of those people who I always look to, like, she's incredible. She's amazing. So you guys, you have an amazing leader there.
This is incredible. You are so silly. I'm
not silly. You are. I was so starstruck.
Get over that.
Thank
you. You're so kind. What an incredible journey we've had, for sure. I'm pumped. I'm like, yeah, I'm confident now. Not that I wasn't before, but I'm even more confident now. Like, this business is amazing. This network is amazing. You people are amazing. So who cares if we say something wrong? Let's just go talk to people.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you guys, when you're like passionate and excited, like you can totally mess up and people don't care.
Yeah.
They don't. Like people are just like, she said the wrong name, the wrong word. I don't even care. Like she's just really excited about this.
Susan, I don't care. I want it.
Yeah, I don't care. I want it anyway.
I love it. People are going to jump on board with you when you share their belief, your confidence. And you know what? Some days you're going to have great days. Some days you're not going to have great days. You're going to hit 100% your goals or your to-do list some days, and some days you're not. But just keep on. Have fun with it. Like, enjoy the ride, because that's what produces longevity. You got it, guys? All right, so we have a couple more days in March. You guys go after it. We have tremendous opportunity here to achieve what you want. Do not get in your own head. Do not overcomplicate things. All right? So peace out. I'll upload this to YouTube and post a link tomorrow. Thank you again, Becka, so much.
Bye, Moxies.
Bye.